It is lunch break, and I have a story to tell. I may be responsible for the fact that grocery stores no longer have trading cards anywhere else in the store except at the registers, where they could be looked at by the employees 24/7 and not be stolen. Because whenever I was a kid, and I've never admitted this to anybody else, I've admitted it to a lot of people, but whenever I was a kid, this has been over a decade ago, I was like 13 years old at the time. There was a Walmart right there in front of the subdivision that my family was living in the suburban area around Savannah, and that Walmart had all of their trading cards by the garden department, and they were on a little corner that didn't have anybody looking at it for any period of the day. Unless an employee walked by on the way to lunch or some shit. But there wasn't any security cameras up. And nobody was ever over there. Because it's trading cards. It's a toy. It's kid stuff. You know, there's no security over toys and that kind of thing. Well, me being a mischievous young tot and very, very kleptomaniac, I loved stealing things. Not for the fact that I wanted them, but because I just liked doing it, because it was thrilling, and because I felt like a villain. So, I didn't play with trading cards. I didn't collect them. I didn't give a shit what they looked like. But they were easy to stick in my sleeve. Because, and it was Pokemon cards. They came in the little, they still come in the little cardboard sleeves about yay long. And I would go over there to the aisle where they were, and I'd look over there, and I'd look over here, and I had this big old hoodie on that was like 2 sizes too big for me. It was a blue hoodie. I actually still have it somewhere. I'm sure it's boxed up somewhere. But I'd have that hoodie on, and inside of that I'd have a long sleeve shirt on. And the long sleeve shirt would be tucked into my pants, so that whenever I'd go over to the trading cards, stick my hand up there, nobody's watching, stick my hand up there, card pack would go down my sleeve. I had the technique down like Chris Angel out here. I mean, I was a magician at spiriting away those packs of trading cards. It'd go down my sleeve, and it would go into my shirt, and because my shirt is tucked into my pants, it would stop there, and it wouldn't go down my pants leg or fall out on the floor. It would just stop there. Every time that I went in that Walmart, I'd ride my bike up there, I'd park it by the garden department, I'd walk in, and I'd walk straight for those trading cards. And I'd start sticking them down my sleeves, and I'd have like 8 or 10 of them all at once. Man, I'd walk out of there, and I felt like $1,000,000. I was riding my bicycle down the street, feeling the card packs cutting into my blasted skin. And I'd get back to the house, and I'd park my bike in the garage and get out there in my bedroom and lay them all out. And some of them I opened. It's just that, like, I didn't even open most of them. I'd just go and I'd take them and I'd have them and I'd give them to friends and things. I didn't use any of the stuff I was taking. It was just such a serotonin high that I would get from doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, being up to no good. Being a bad little boy was all I wanted to be. And for a while that went on. Over the course of, I would say, about half a year, as many times as I went in there, I can't be for sure certain of exactly how much money Walmart lost because of me. But just trying to do the calculations in my head and trying to figure out how much did I actually rob them for as a kid, it had to be in the thousands. Like, there's no way, because I went in there so frequently. And it's terrible now, and for God's sake, if you're watching this, don't steal from retail stores. Those people don't deserve that. Just a PSA, don't steal, you know. In case you weren't aware, it's kind of a bad thing to do. Not very nice. But I'm a stupid kid, and I'm doing things I shouldn't be doing just because I enjoy doing bad things. But I would get so many Pokemon cards every time I'd go in there. And it was only them. I didn't go for any of the other brands. But I had such a gigantic collection of them by the end of it. And eventually, the reason I stopped was not because they moved it to the cash registers, although they did do that later on. I stopped because I almost got caught in the most ceremonious way possible. It was about a couple months after I started doing that shit, And I was very adept at my craft. But I was also concerned because of how frequently I was doing it, and I was addicted to it at this point. I couldn't stop doing it. I just wanted to go in there and take those. And I mean, there's all sorts of other things in there that I would have, been able to get out of there, but that was the one thing I was focused on. I was hell bent on getting those trading cards, and I was starting to be concerned that maybe the employees were noticing how frequently I was in there, and I did notice that they put up a camera nearby. It wasn't actually looking directly at the trading cards, but it was looking at the entrance to the aisle. Like as you're walking through the main hallway in the middle of all the aisles, and you got the soap over there, and the detergent over there, and the clown horns over there, and all that sort of thing. And they had a security camera that would watch the entrance of the garden shop and also the trading card aisle. And so I started to become a little more nervous about doing it. I was already very on edge, but I kept doing it because I'm stupid. And there's one day that I went in there and I had already filled up my shirt, and an employee walked by as I was reaching up for another pack, and they stood there. And I about pooped in my undies. And I just grabbed the pack and I started looking at it, and, pretending like I was interested in, maybe I'll buy this. Yes, I'm not stealing all of your packs of cards. I'm just a normal customer. And then I went and bought the thing, because that employee eventually walked away. But they stood there for so long that I was shaking. I didn't want to leave all the packs there, because that meant I would have to untuck my shirt and pull like 30 of them motherfuckers. It wasn't quite that many. I'm not that big. I wouldn't be able to have them. I'm a tiny guy. I'm 13 years old, and I'm not going to be able to pull all that stuff out without making it extremely obvious. So I just went to the register and I bought it. And whenever I got done, I'd scanned it, or I'd given it to the employee. They'd scanned it and they'd given it back to me, and I handed them like a $2 or something. I don't remember how much they were back then. I don't know how much they are now. But she handed the pack back to me, and I walked out, and I got on my bike, and I rode home with that bag that she gave me the pack in, hanging off the handlebar. I parked my bike in the garage, and I went back to my bedroom, and I pulled that pack out of the bag. And I opened it, because at that point I was opening the packs. I was actually looking at the different cards, because I'd heard that the cards had value, and so of course I'm seeing dollar signs. I opened that pack and I realized that it had been retaped. It had been resealed. The cardboard around the pack had been resealed. Whenever I opened that pack, there was one of those little mag strips inside of it with this little silver strips on it that would trigger the customer service announcement whenever you walked through the doors, if the item that you're walking out with had not yet been scanned. A theft alarm. And there was one of those little trackers inside of that pack. They had cut the pack open, stuck one of those in there, and resealed it. I dumped every one of those packs onto that bed, and I investigated every single one of those packs. Not another one of them had it in there. That one pack had that security strip in it. In total, I believe I had 12 packs in my shirt in that one pack that I bought. So I had a 1 in 13 chance of getting out of there without being caught and triggering that alarm. Because whenever she scanned the pack, it canceled the magnetization on the strip, I guess is how that works. I came so very close to being caught that I never went back to that section again. I never touched trading cards. Ever. In a store again. Not just Walmart. It put me completely off of messing with them. And thankfully so. Because I needed to stop. It was a stupid thing to be doing, but I'm a kid and very easily amused and trying to figure out ways to amuse myself. So that's what I did. And I no longer have all those cards, but I just think about the poor employees having to restock those shelves, knowing that some nefarious individual of ill repute is prowling around taking all those cards. And eventually they got so fed up with it that less than a couple months after that horrible incident occurred, they moved all of the trading cards from the garden department and put them by the registers. And they've been there ever since. And as far as I'm aware, every Walmart that I've ever been in has those trading cards by the registers. But yeah, shoplifting was my thing for a mercifully short period. I quit doing all that kind of crap pretty soon after that. Like, I don't even remember the last thing that I snuck out of a store with. But, God, to think if I had actually gotten the wrong pack and been caught, my poor little heart would have exploded. My life would have been over. I don't know what kind of charges would have been brought against a 13-year-old idiot stealing all these Pokemon cards. Like, if it had been one instance, maybe the employees would have been mad and I'd been able to go home without any packs. But knowing all of the damage that I had done and all of the shit that I had taken, they probably would have thrown the bookshelf at me. Whatever they could do, put me in juvenile detention, or something like that. Take me to court and sue me. I don't know. sue a minor. But I was just going to sit here and talk about that and vent something that I've vented many times before to family and to friends, and how, you can get away with doing something that is wrong and just plain unkind for a little while, but can't get away with doing it forever. And I'm so glad that I, by all accounts, managed to get away with it. Anyhow, have fun.